No, I'm working.
Oh, go ahead.
Are we live?
I think we are live.
Oh my God, we're live. What do we do? Start talking. Nate, say something smart. Go.
I wish I could. I've lost it. I lost it. But what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm delighted to have more episodes of Laid Back Law. You know, there was a kind of a hiatus from November until this month. Now you've come aboard, and I'm reporting for duty, Nate.
Well, we are both here. First things first, we want to tell everybody spammed us with these two issues. The Pretti video, right? The Pretti video. It's like, we got to look at this. So we're going to look at it directly. We're going to play it first so we can all see what's going on. No BS. Then I was spammed with the Candace Owens stuff. Candace Owens.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go over the Candace Owens stuff, and we're going to try to walk through all this stuff together.
I got to tease you a little bit, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
It's Alex Pretti. He's not an Indy driver. It sounds like, Alex Pretti, the Indy racer, but it's Pretti. Like it's like pretty.
AJ,
but,
you look at the Dove video.
Dove video.
Dove video. Yeah.
But to let everybody know, we are streaming right now on both Nate the Lawyer and Laid Back Law, and we will be shifting after the Pretti coverage. We're going to be shifting all the way over to Laid Back Law, and you should automatically be taken, but it'd be awesome if you just headed over right now to see the whole channel or the whole video on Laid Back Law. And I understand if you absolutely hate the idea of watching Nate the Lawyer on live streams with other people, then yeah, don't subscribe. But if you want to see that, because eventually we're not going to be starting it on the Nate Lawyer channel, it will just be Laid Back Law. We're doing this to point to, hey, there's another channel. Hey, do you want to check this out? Hopefully you do. So please consider that. And if you like it, please subscribe when you're there. You can see we've stepped it up. Last week, we actually did Thursday, and then we did Friday last week. We did Sunday this week. We're doing Thursday now. We're doing Friday as well. As the news comes in or the cases or the stories come in, we're going to try to do a live stream, but they may not be on a consistent day. So that's where the subscribing really helps. Think of subscribing as kind of like bookmarking or setting yourself up to get notifications for when we actually do go live. Another alternative is you can follow both of us on X, and we do post that, hey, we're going to be going live also on X. So just wanted to share that, and I hope you all do consider coming over and subscribing.
Yes. Because again, we're going to be here. Generally, our schedule is going to be Thursdays and Fridays, and it really gives us a chance to just kind of lay back and talk to the audience and get feedback and answer questions and get pushback, because again, it's a conversation between us and the fans and trying to understand what it is. So I think without
haters, haters are welcome too. Yeah.
What we want now is let's just look at this video.
Oh, actual Justice Warriors here.
Yeah, I've been putting up a couple of tweets. This is my brother.
Good to see you, Sean.
Thanks, Stephanie. I need a glass of milk. So let's do this. We want to play the video uninterrupted, right? So we can see it from beginning to end, and then we'll start breaking it down. Because again, I think it's always best if you guys just kind of see it without any of our cover to it, and then we just see what happens. So,
by the way, this is a hint to me, and this is him saying, "Eric, shut up, let it play through." Okay.
News movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Pretti interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Pretti was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband. Here, he continues to stand at the scene. On the day he was killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Pretti, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations, which concluded that Pretti was holding a phone, not a gun, when he was pinned to the street. Shortly after the altercation we filmed here on January 13th, federal agents drove away.
All right, so that's the first video, and we're going to be definitely going into.
Well, let's play the second angle too, so people can see.
Okay, you want to go straight to that one? That's fine.
Yeah, just because I just want to let them get the full context before we start breaking it down.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hang on. I got to go full screen and share it so everybody get to see how the sausage is made when it's live too. Doing it live. No editor to cut out the bad parts.
Yeah.
Look at you! Pepper spray, bitch! Fucking something, motherfucker! Fucking fuck you guys! Fucking trash! Fucking trash! Look at you!
All right, that's the other.
All right, so I think that clearly shows between the two videos that he did in fact kick in the tail light, spit at the officer, not quite the gentle natured person that we've seen. And I have another clip, Nate, I wanted to share because one thing that I think that video definitively proves is the illustration of who this guy is may not be fully accurate. Here's Anna Navarro describing Alex Pretti the night before this video came out.
All right.
They chose to, they killed the wrong guy, right? Because this is like the perfect guy. Alex Pretti is the guy you would want to date your daughter. The guy you would want your son to grow up to be a decent human being who was serving humanity, serving sick veterans, who is, you know, there is nothing that has been said about that man that isn't wonderful. And so they can't malign him. They can't malign him because we have the videos. They chose to, they killed the wrong guy, right? Because this is the.
All right, so there we go. And I would say that that is the image that has been put forth about Alex Pretti from a particular faction, and I'm using Anna Navarro to represent it. So the one conclusive thing from that video I could say is that he was not always a gentle lamb.
No, I think, well, personally, what I saw from that video is I saw Alex Pretti being extremely violent, and he should have been arrested on the spot.
Agreed.
I think he violated multiple federal laws. I think he assaulted officers. I think he was vandalism of government property. I think in that moment, he was a reckless, violent thug, and he should have been arrested on the spot, and he should have been taken away. And matter of fact, I believe those were even felonies he committed, and he shouldn't have been on the street 2 weeks later. Right?
Ironically, I think if the shooting had taken place in the seconds after that incident, it would have made more sense. Or am I wrong?
What do you mean? If this incident,
Right. If we
maybe I
take
misunderstood.
this incident we just watched, followed by what ultimately happened,
Yeah.
the justification would have been clearer.
Yes. No doubt about it. What we just witnessed, I want to be very, very clear. I'm not mincing any words. I'm not going to try to be political about it. What we just saw was a man violently attacking law enforcement officers in the performance of their duties. Zero, full stop. I believe he was committing felonies. I believe he was breaking federal law. And I believe everything that occurred in that moment from what he was doing shows that he was an agitator. He was following ICE, and he wanted to get into these confrontations. I don't think there's any other way you can cut that video. You know what I'm saying? Because the officers were leaving. And the only reason why they stopped and got out the car was because he started destroying government property. And I think that, and I think we have to be fair to the narrative, like the narrative of him being this angel that worked to this and veterans. Throw all that out the window. This was a violent thug who was attacking officers 11 days before he was shot. I think we have to understand that. But now the next question is this relevant to the shooting 10 days later? And I think that's what we have to kind of reconcile. But before we get there, let's break down this event.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, my first big question, I think you said it before, is, well, I have two major questions. Number one, why wasn't he arrested? And number two, I really question the fact that he was armed in this incident, just like he was armed in the later incident. He was obviously armed. I don't know how they could have missed the fact that he was armed while they were, tackling him. His jacket got pulled off in that fracas while they were searching him, or they were doing something. But somehow I could see the gun. I'm sure every witness could see the gun. It seemed very obvious and sticking up. Why would they let him go while he's armed? It gives the implication that he truly wasn't a danger. It also does show that he did not pull the gun out at this time. So, to work in his favor, he actually didn't pull the gun out. All of the actions took place with his hands. They did not involve his pistol in the back of his belt. But I do question, I think they had every reason to arrest him. He destroyed, destruction of government property. I believe that could have been potentially over $1,000 worth of damage on that vehicle. Wherever you are, it's going to be a felony level, wouldn't it? If you,
we're talking about felony level stuff. He's spitting on officers. That's felony assault, right? He's contacting them. He's breaking property, and he's armed. So you checking off all the boxes here. And I think people fail to realize just because he was dangerous in this event doesn't mean he was dangerous in the next event, right? There's a propensity argument that everybody's going to make. But I think I do think let's break down this incident from beginning to end. Let's look to see what's going on.
Okay. You want to review and
This is a moment the new.
Oh, yes. Do you want me to do it on my end? Or?
No, I'm fine. I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. So
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to mute it though, because we want to hear the
we can mute it. So let's play it.
All right.
So right now, obviously, he's confronting the officers. The other angle is better, but he spits. Right? He's spitting on officers. That is generally assault. Right? He's now damaging government vehicles. Right?
The spitting thing. Because I don't think he actually hit an officer. They weren't there, and I feel like the spit was kind of more symbolic, like on you, whatever. But he didn't actually spit on the officer, unless I'm missing something. But in the angles, it seemed like they were already in the car. So the spitting.
So he might not spit on the officer. All right, I'll even give you that.
I'm just saying. Now the kick. It was kind of like, okay, you're not responding to my spitting toward you. Let me damage the vehicle. Now this is blatantly, I think, cause for them to grab him.
Well, this is the arrest, right? This is essentially the arrest. And now the tail lights out, he's damaged government property, the spitting, whatever, but I still think the spitting gives you probable cause for an arrest for an assault, hits or not, because it's all about apprehension. But we've got damage to government property. We have the spitting. now I think these officers are 100% justified in trying to place this guy under arrest. I'm assuming we agree on that point.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't. And I did have one question. I meant to ask you earlier, Nate. Do you know if these agents were ICE or Border Patrol? Because that could be a significant thing. One of the complaints is when Pretti was shot, he was actually killed by Border Patrol, but everybody keeps saying ICE. And ICE has been complaining in the background, apparently, internally saying, we're tired of Border Patrol doing shit, and then we're getting blamed for it because ICE is kind of like this general term that is being used for everything.
All federal agents.
But we really probably need to parse that. Now, I just don't know. It could be interesting if this was ICE and they acted differently than Border Patrol later. I don't have that answer, though. But anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just don't think, I think it's not relevant for this discussion in terms of what's happening here, because I'm just saying they're all federal agents, and I think the laws are the same in that particular instance. But let's continue to play, because I think everyone here would have to just admit that essentially a crime has been committed, and these officers are justified in now placing hands on this man and take him into custody. So let's see.
100%. 100%. So they come out and it's like, hey, what are you doing? And they're grabbing him. Okay.
All right. So he's being grabbed.
Fair enough. Now let's look. Okay. Boom.
No,
start to see the lift in the back here of the gun, but we'll keep watching. I just wanted to. Okay. So now he's down. I'm going to back to that.
All right. No. Well, so that's the intro to the video. If you keep going, it starts it starts at a certain point.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Video. I did not know that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where you see the spit. So now it just goes on from here.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm saying I think the guy was already in the vehicle, and this spitting is just kind of like, you're a dick, whatever. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, because we had the other angle, because we remember we see the spitting because somebody was filming for the other angle, so we saw that video.
We did, but I don't think I think the officer again was like.
No, we can just see it. Yeah, I'll pull it up. Dude, matter of fact, I'll pull it up.
The video. Really
the Twitter, yeah. So he's sitting there.
Pepper spray, bitch! Fucking assault me, motherfucker! Fuck you guys!
I think you're right. He's inside.
Door is mostly closed. Okay, I'm
giving it to you. I'm giving it to you. But he did attempt to spin an officer. But
sure,
I'm not. I would say let's forget about that. Let's forget about the spit. But I think it's all, when you put it all together, it gives you that context.
Oh, 100% on that. I was just talking about, as far as the felony, and it's like, I wouldn't blame them. And I think that had he not kicked the vehicle, they were just going to drive off. I mean, the vehicle was moving away when he was kicking. Well, let's watch. It's moving. Yeah. I mean, so they're leaving the scene, clearly leaving. It's done. Right. And he's kicking. So let's look again. It's moving.
No, I think it's clear he kicked that. Yeah, he damaged that property. They jump out immediately,
which I think is appropriate.
Yeah, of course. Well, I don't think the Border Patrol agents are wrong at all. Let's just play it out from here.
Yeah, of course. Okay,
so they're going and now put hands on them. Yeah, takedown.
Now, by the way, this takedown, Nate, the way they're doing it, with the jacket and stuff. This is by the book, right? Or is it not?
You're grabbing a person, taking him down. He's now eating, because he's broken government property. You're taking him down, and he's now got a face full of asphalt, right? He's chewing asphalt, and the guys are jumping on him. Can you go back a couple of frames?
Yeah, I wanted to anyway, because I want to ask about the technique here, because I've seen this in like street fighting, and I'm going to ask you this: they're pulling the jacket off of him. Is that part of the technique to help keep his arms restrained, or he can't harm the officer by pulling the jacket down while they're grabbing him?
I don't think so, because generally, we used to I was a handcuffing instructor for tactical takedowns. It really depends on the subject, right? So if it's a one-on-one thing, you're really trying to grab, and you got multiple officers here. What they generally would do is one officer would go for one arm, the other officer would go for another arm. They would grab what they can, which is a jacket, and then use that to take him down, trying to get compliance by getting his hands behind his back. And So yeah, so that's what they do. So I think the takedown was to try to gain compliance, and then you see everybody swarm one on, and just like
Right.
when you see for the incident 11 days later, you'll see officers go on both sides of the body to try to get compliance with their hands. And respectfully, what he does, he puts his arms down, and he's kind of in the same position. So let's play it. You know how to play it frame by frame on YouTube with the
I got to reset the.
no,
right?
no, you don't got to reset the time. So when you go, you see the M, you see M on your keyboard. Those two, right, left and right. If you press them, they go frame by frame.
M.
If you have it, if you have it on YouTube, you press it, and if you press it, it goes frame by frame. Right next to M, the bracket.
Oh, you mean the arrows? Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
see.
bracket.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. I'm learning
Yeah.
something.
And if you
Okay.
hold it down, it plays it in like 0.25 seconds. So now they're taking him down. He's throwing him to the other officer. Two officers on one side, grabbing the arms.
Mhm.
This all looks textbook to me. Now it's time for him to eat asphalt. He's armed. Now, I would say this: at this moment in time, they have him on the ground. I'm assuming they're going to arrest him, and he's armed. So
Yes.
let's play it.
Oh, I was just going because it's going to go black here in a second. So and see how the jacket's coming off.
Jackets
Yeah,
off. Now that obviously that was a mistake because the officer's grabbing the jacket and the jacket's come off. Now the officer's in a bad spot, right? He's kind of slipped out of it.
Potentially, but you can visibly see now that the gun here is exposed to their view, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, clearly. I mean, I can see.
You can see the bulge. You can see the bulge.
Right, and looks like the top edge of it as well.
Yeah.
So
Keep it going.
don't know how they could have missed it.
Oh, you're going back. Oh no, you're going forward.
Oh,
So just
no,
play
that
that regular speed.
That was forward. That
Yeah,
was forward.
just play that regular speed.
Oh, all right, hang on.
During the altercation,
So now pause it here.
Oh,
So
okay.
now the other officers get out.
Right.
And I call it, these are the boys playing with the toys, right? Let's get out, set a perimeter, deploy the pepper spray. So that's what they did. They got out, set a perimeter, deploy pepper spray. And you see the guys over here on the left-hand side with, what's it, Pretti? I'm calling them
Pretti.
You see them with Pretti, and they're searching Pretti. Now they're searching Pretti for, I'm assuming, guns, weapons, contraband, right? They're searching them for that, right? And on top of that, any law enforcement officer out there, you guys know what I'm about to say. If the first place you search, especially in a hot situation, is the waistband, because most people carry their guns in their waistband for easy access. So in a situation that's hot, that you need to do a quick search to get in and get out, then you do you search the waistband. If you see a gun, you remove the gun, and now you have a situation. So these officers, now you got three officers, Peretti's on the floor. They're in a tug of war here. They're wrestling and feeling. Let's see what happens. Do they
And by the way,
find the gun?
those who are pushing back on that and saying, "Oh, how can they miss it?" Whatever. If you question the waistband, have you ever been pulled aside by TSA at the airport? Think of how they search you. They come around your waist and then up your legs. Right, Nate?
Yeah, because the waistband is generally where people carry weapons. It's it's a natural place.
Okay. Do you want to do a few super chats so we can
Oh, yeah.
kind of stay ahead of that?
Let's
And
let's get it.
maybe some people have a good thing here.
Wait, Nate, do you think it's still true that it became a horrible incident after the SIG fired, but the border, I'm assuming patrol, would still be civilly liable? I think that's the big argument between all of the attorneys online is that first shot. Barnes believes that first shot came from the cop, and that's why he thinks it's murder. Andrew thinks that first shot may have come from the SIG, and by hearing that first shot, all the officers responded to the situation reasonably, which is true. I think that's correct. If that SIG fired and all the officers thought it was from this guy, that's a correct assessment. I think Barnes' assessment is correct if it's one of the officers that fired. So,
And
it
as
really
far as civilly goes,
depends.
as far as civilly goes, they might be in trouble no matter which case you're talking about.
Because it's negligent. And I think a lot of people don't realize the first officer that actually did the shoving and escalated it was also the officer that shot Pretti.
I thought it was not the officer, because when I look at the video, they seem to be on the side by the right arm, Nate.
So
And we'll be looking at that again later, right?
yeah, because I actually have that video where you can see the first officer who did all the stuff, who escalated stuff. When you go around, there were two officers that fired at Pretti. One was the first officer that fired the first. Well, some people saying that fired the first shot, and then the other officer who started all the stuff pulls out his gun and fires twice. So that person actually shot Pretti too.
Okay, but that was later. It was
that was later.
It was not the first shot. If the police or the
it was in that barrage of shots.
Okay. Well, that yeah.
Let me get to the next one. Feels more and more like this was suicide by cop. I don't know about the second one. The second one is a different situation. Also, should Kristi Noem be fired for speaking before all the facts came out? Yes, I think Kristi Noem should be fired because what she said was just objectively not true. Right? It's what she said was, if you look at the video, what do you think, Eric?
I'm not a Kristi Noem fan, so I want to coach that really quickly and just say, okay, look, I have my bias. I don't like Kristi Noem. I think that Kristi Noem is more interested in photo ops than she is in law enforcement, and that's why I'm excited that Tom Homan is back. Should she be fired? Sure. I don't think she should have the position to begin with, in my opinion.
Eric froze up, it sounds like.
The facts incorrectly, which essentially made the administration liars by saying that he was brandishing a weapon and things of that. And those who were saying, well, that was the information given to her and she just reported it. She does have a responsibility, in my opinion, to verify information that is given to her before she states it publicly. So that's where I stand.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, do the feds still have the right to arrest him later? Yes. For this, I think you can make the argument. But the officers on the ground would have had to know about all this and would have had to know that this was the guy and would have known that this is the person we wanted to arrest. So they could have, but you would have to impugn that knowledge to the officers on the street at the later event.
Nate, they may be asking that, because we were saying, why didn't they arrest him now? Maybe they were thinking, we just want to get everybody out there and then we'll go pick him up later when things are calm.
It could be possible, but then
so that might have been what they're asking. I'm just throwing that out.
But then you at least take his ID, identify him, right? When we see, well, let's see how this all plays out. And it says they may not have had room. Agreed. But then we'll see how it all plays out, because if you can't arrest somebody who don't have any room, the first thing you do is identify them. That's like with a car. Sometimes in New York City, because it's so congested, if a car starts running, the first thing they tell you is just grab the license plate. As long as you got the license plate, you can identify the car. A lot of times, too, you would pull someone over and they'll give you their ID and then they'll pull off and run away. Well, I still have your ID, so I know who you are. So that's why you grab ID. And you could go get them later, but you'd have to do that, though.
Well, in riot type situations too, Nate, don't they have like potentially zip strips so they could just have them lined up sitting on, or zip ties and line them up sitting on the sidewalk, bring somebody in, call the locals, hey, we need a paddy wagon, whatever it is.
Locals ain't coming for this.
Well, right? Whatever. I'm just saying, or if they have some sort of a transport vehicle, they zip ties with a guard, call somebody up and say, okay, we've got this. They probably didn't want to deal with it. They probably just were like, we want to get out of here and get rid of that and move on. But let's finish with the super chats, because there's a lot here that I think we have to discuss. I agree.
They may not have had room. Very good point. Oops, let me grab this one. They may not have been in the position to effectuate an arrest. That's why you pull the ID and identify and then effectuate the arrest later. Maybe too many agitators for the officer's safety. I agree. I think that's what happened. That's why they deployed pepper spray. Similar to troops not detaining terrorists in Afghanistan, they were outnumbered. Yeah, no, this is beautiful. Yes, I agree with all of this. Nate, the big dog, is the Boratak. Everywhere I looked, ICE generally doesn't have the ability to detain U.S. citizens. Well, when they destroy government property and assaulting the officers, they have the right to arrest this guy. I don't think that's in question. What's the legality on that? I can't find the answer anywhere. Yes, they can detain U.S. citizens for violating federal law. Sure. That's what, and so the federal law here would be, if they're trying to interfere with ICE physically and forcibly, then ICE can detain them. And that's the Renee Good story. Renee Good was physically and forcibly trying to detain ICE, essentially just saying, she put her car in a position to block them, physically block them. That's using force to stop ICE.
And
That
this
is a
force.
misdemeanor. Yes, and that's a misdemeanor, and that misdemeanor would be arrestable. And if you touch the officer, that can lead it up to the felony. So yeah, so I think here, if this is ICE or Border Patrol or any federal agent, they have the right to arrest him for 18 U.S.C. Section 111.
He was clearly interfering.
Yes,
Clearly.
yes, forcibly
No
too.
question. Yes.
Ryan McGrath has a great video on what's going on here with the organizations of these protests. I'll definitely check that out. Thank you for that. Nate and Eric on the case. Well, we just wanted to see, everybody kept sending us this, so we wanted to make sure that we looked at this and, see what the hell everybody's talking about. Having rights doesn't mean you are released from using those rights responsibly. Some kids need to touch the hot stove to understand it's hot. Very good point. Very good point. And it is not premeditated murder if they targeted him because of this. I don't, but again, you'd have to prove that they targeted him because of this, right? Those officers in the next event would have had to know about this. So I think that's what you kind of would have to show.
And even if they did, we'll have to go into whether that matters.
Yeah. Let's continue to play it out.
100%. All right. Well, just there we go. All right. Okay, so now he's there.
So now they got more searching.
And he is also not resisting, really.
Yeah, they're searching. I like this. Pause it. Go back a little bit before he gets up. All right, so right now you got freedom of the press. You see the guy with the camera? And you got freedom of speech right next to him. That's your Constitution at work, baby. The First
Bill
Amendment.
of Rights. There you go.
That's right. There it is. Freedom of speech right next to freedom of the press.
All right, fair enough. And now
they're about to let him get up.
Yeah, it's like they're kicking him almost. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, they're picking him up. He's getting up. They're all looking at him get up.
Now you cannot tell me during that search they did not come across that gun. I mean, it just doesn't seem plausible.
Yep, he's getting up. You see the other person documenting it. The other woman screaming. Now her screaming doesn't violate the Constitution. That's constitutionally protected activity. So you can't get that. He's getting his jacket. Police are just making sure the scene is safe. That's all I'm seeing here. And
I don't think I do not think the cops were abusive or anything in any way at this.
No.
I mean, and now he's turning around, looks like to yell at them.
And now
look at that clear shot of that gun.
This is essentially open carry. Let me pull this up. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Hold on. I'm going to remove yours and pull this one up. This shot. This is essentially open carry. He's not even concealed carry anymore. This is open carry. His jacket's off. The gun is clearly visible, and the officers there. Now the officers, let him go with this gun. He was clearly under their control. He was clearly searched. Now you can make two arguments here that they didn't catch the gun on that, but now it's not like he's going to run away and hide the gun and reconceal it. Right. He's going to continue on with essentially open carry, still threatening and yelling at the officers. Let's see it.
Yeah. You're what a wit, Terabus.
Yeah, there he goes over there on the left-hand side. You can see him in the corner. He's there screaming, yelling at officers, yelling at officers. He's got it look on the left. He's got to see he's taking his jacket off, throws his jacket down, and he's clearly armed. He's clearly armed, and he's going to go back into the fray and yell at the officers. Open carry, right? They can see he's got the weapon, and then they deploy pepper spray to help them get off. So they don't want people coming kicking the car anymore. So they deploy pepper spray.
Yeah, they're trying to leave.
The camera angle is all messed up here.
Yeah, I know.
He's just filming the floor. There he is again.
Yeah.
Now he's pulled his jacket down so you can't see the gun.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me. Now, if we pause it, because that's essentially the end of this video. I think one of the things that this video, everybody's trying to use this video to support their foregone conclusion. But they don't realize this video cuts both ways. It's good for Pretti and it's good for the officers, because what it shows is that I think this blows up one of the crazier arguments that I've been hearing from conservatives about this argument, about this situation. He had a gun that made him instantly dangerous, and the officers should shoot him because who would bring a gun to a protest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
But
in
but
that
he actually
particular case-
in the favor on the flip side, they didn't consider him dangerous enough. They let him go with a gun.
Say one more time.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead and repeat what you were saying.
Oh, somebody's impersonating me in the chat. That's not
No,
me.
that was me.
Oh.
I was replying to somebody saying the only thing I've investigated is a Thin Mint, and I just said, "Are you that mentally weak that that's the best you can do? You can't talk to a topic. You just go after somebody. Whatever."
So what was your question?
Okay, you started to say something, and I was saying on the flip side, or I don't know if it's the flip side. Anyway, I think it's interesting that they released him. They released him with the gun, and it could be determined they did not consider him a threat
Well,
with
let's
the
step
gun.
back.
They released him with that.
Yes. Well, let's step back here, because the argument from the conservative right was, why go to a protest with a gun? You just asking for trouble.
Right.
And I still think all of that is accurate and true, right? If
You're
wanna go to
increasing
a
your risk
protest,
for sure.
you're increasing your risk, right? But then on the opposite side of that, he was lawfully allowed to have a gun. He, all that jazz. And then on top of that, we have a situation where he is confronting law enforcement officers while armed, but he survived that encounter because at no point in time, even in this situation, did he make any movements toward the gun. Did he grab his gun? Did he point his gun at the officer? No officer there saying that they feel threatened by this man who's obviously armed, that he was going to employ any deadly physical force against them. That's what I'm seeing here.
I agree, and I want to. I just saw a check go by, but whatever. Somebody's saying they didn't see the gun. Like kind of leave him alone. Well, here's the problem with this scenario. One of two things: either they deemed him not a threat and they let him go with the gun. That's A, right? Or B, they didn't see the gun, which makes me question their professionalism when Nate just told you the first place you look is on the waistband. And if every one of them, how many were holding him? 4? It looked like potentially 4 people. They were searching him. So if they're searching him, that it appeared they were searching him. They weren't just feeling him up. They were doing something and they missed it. I question their training. Okay. It's one or the other. I'm not trying to be a mean here, but if they missed the gun, that's scary. If they deemed, hey, he didn't pull the gun, he didn't do anything, he has a Second Amendment right, then they made that decision. So I don't see a third option.
Yeah, and I would say this. The argument gets weaker, right? Because it's not like he left and you could say, okay, he just kind of got away with the gun. He's staying there, essentially open carry, still yelling at the officers. And these officers who just wrestled him, I'm assuming would be looking to make sure he's not, he just spit on him. They just tackled him. And now they're looking at it and resisting. I would even go as far to say there was light resistance there. But you're telling me that these professional officers in this situation all missed that he had this gun? It's either they are just that, like Eric said, that bad at their job, or they didn't believe the gun was a threat to their personal safety in that moment. Because you can't have it both ways. Either they're incompetent or they didn't believe it was a threat to their safety.
Right. And the Second Amendment, potentially, if they were letting him go, there was no cause, I guess, to disarm him at that point. And they made the decision. So I'm saying either it was a decision or they missed it. I don't know which way other way you could go.
Yeah, I think the problem here is that people have seen this and they only think that it cuts one way for them. Like, for instance, Megyn Kelly was saying earlier. Megyn
I don't
Kelly
think it's
said,
AI slop, Rick Ba.
I think, well, what's his name said, Megyn Kelly. She said, oh, this shows his propensity for violence against ICE officers, and this should inform your opinion about what happened later. While the left is saying, right, well, hey, this shows you can carry a gun to a interaction with federal law enforcement. You can wrestle, fight, spit, destroy government property. They can search you, tackle you, and at the end of the day, they let this guy go, and they let him go with his firearm intact. That's the left's argument. So I would say this: there's more here at this first event to maybe use force than there was at the second event at the beginning. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And that's why I was saying that if the second event had occurred, while they were down and, all that was going on, or there was a perception or it went off or whatever at the time, it would have been a lot cleaner, because this is such an obvious example versus the later encounter, which the circumstances were a bit different.
Yeah, they were a bit different, because in this one, he's obviously agitating the officers. In the second one, I don't think he was. And let me bring up these super chats. How should the analysis be prolonged? Nonstop group harassment that functions as a single and degrades officers' real-time judgment.
Sadly, that's where the training and stuff's come in. I feel for the cops. Not everybody or agents, not everybody has the personality type that is going to be a good police officer. Nate, you're a trainer. Am I wrong?
Yes, some people are scared. Don't forget, police officers, you're trained to use force, while civilians are trained to avoid situations, right? So we're trained to manage use of force situations. We know we have to use force to obtain subjects and do those type of things. And then we understand that force is going to be used against us sometimes to prevent. So we're trained to manage force situations, and I obviously try to de-escalate. Where citizens are trained to avoid, use of force situations, right? You can only use self-defense if something's deployed against you. We're an officer, we can employ those type of things. So what I think some people are missing in this analysis is that the officers, to exercise that right, they have to be justified, and they have to be justified in that, not only in that moment, based on the totality of the circumstances. Here, I don't think there's any question. These officers were justified in the tactics they used. I think that was an extremely sloppy search, because if you're not searching them for weapons, then what the hell are they doing? And if you had 3 officers search this guy and he stands up still armed, either that shows poor training, or you can also make the argument, which I think his lawyers are going to make. They saw he had a gun. He never pulled it. He got up, and they thought he was okay, after all of that stuff happened, to still be able to exercise his Second Amendment right, because he didn't threaten them with it. And all those officers are armed. They're all armed. If they were afraid, I'm assuming they would have used force to obtain that weapon, or they would have grabbed him and tried to get the gun. But
correct me if I'm wrong, Nate. If he wasn't arrested, they would have no cause to disarm him, right? If he's being let go, like no arrest, nothing else going on, then they really shouldn't take the gun away from him, because he's not in a status of being taken into custody, right? He's back. I'm asking.
I would say this. In that situation, I would have taken that gun away.
Would you? Okay.
I would have taken.
But you would have arrested him too.
Yes, but then you got circumstances. Let's say, for instance, like people were saying earlier, there may not have been enough room in the car to arrest him, which is an obvious, I think, problem if you have, if you're just using these vehicles, and these vehicles may not be not be able to take prisoners, because sometimes you have certain vehicles you want to use to escort prisoners. So what I'm assuming is that they just couldn't just lock somebody up. But now, if you have this dangerous weapon and this guy's acting like this, you disarm him for officer safety purposes.
That's
right. You would disarm, and then have him come get his gun. He could sue us for his gun, but I'm taking that gun, and I think any reasonable officer would take that gun if they felt that this was a safety issue. But again, they didn't take the gun, and it's going to be hard to make an argument that they didn't see this particular gun.
That's fair.
Strange thought. One of the officers knew him from the past two interactions. That's what we have to determine. The officer knew he was carrying and went straight to disarm him when the interaction was becoming an arrest. But again, you got to give me some facts to show that that's actually true. If the officers knew, then you can make that argument, but I just don't see it. It's not A1. There are 3 angles that are synchronized. You don't see the AI videos that are single shot for longer than 10 seconds because current AI cannot hold context that long.
Huh? Oh, is this
There
somebody
are 3
saying it was
angles.
AI slop or something? Or
I don't know. There are 3 angles that are AI that are all synchronized. Maybe.
oh, okay.
Maybe.
Somebody's claiming this whole incident is AI generated. I did
I don't know.
see somebody say that this is AI slop. You know, anything's possible. BBC has authenticated it. And nobody has denied this being a possibility I've seen. And there are many people who would be happy to say, oh, this is just AI generated. It's all BS. It's perfect. Nothing ever happened. So I don't know. I'm going to.
They should have arrested him for damaging the vehicle. I believe the incident embodies emboldened Pretti, and I think that gave him the impression that he could engage, interrupt, resist, and see minimal consequences. I agree. Of course, this would embolden you, right? I've wrestled and when you're in that protest world, right? Yeah, I wrestle with the cops all the time, and I always carry my gun. They don't do nothing to me.
Yeah, he's a stud. Yeah.
This is a hero to those people. Yeah, he's one that gets in their face and he's armed. And guess what? They let me go every time because that's the argument. They don't touch me. They can't do this.
Sure.
But
they can't touch me. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
But the next incident, when you look at the next incident, I think you got to see it for that incident, right? If he was doing the same stuff, then my mouth is shut. But this is not. He wasn't this aggressive in the second incident. He seemed to be almost a different person, to be honest with you. Anyone want to mention that he was actually fired from exertion drug 3 months before? Yes.
I looked that up and I could not confirm that. From what I looked up, he was still actively employed, or I cannot find anything confirming that he was no longer employed. I don't know if you've found anything.
No, I haven't found anything that confirms nor denies that. So I just haven't found it. But I will be on the lookout for it because I've heard this a lot. So I will definitely be on the lookout for it. Thank you so much. But I haven't seen that information. So how do you think this now affects the second case? Because that's the ultimate question, right? How does this video does it affect the second? Does it affect your opinion on the second outcome, the second case?
Well, I'm going to make at least half the audience mad. I think it's irrelevant.
Why?
This is 11 days prior. You have to judge the incident for itself. It doesn't in any way touch the other incident. This is not a continuation. Kind of like the shooting or encounters. There's so much time between here. Even if this was the same day and an hour apart, I'd still say that it's irrelevant.
Yeah,
because it's not a continuation of the same incident. This is a completely separate incident that played through and was resolved. We may not like the resolution, but this was resolved. It was over.
Yes.
The later, 11 days later, that was a new incident. Now, there could be a history and all that, but that's something you determine in court. But I don't think that this is relevant to that. Other than, like I said, with Anna Navarro, I don't know if he's the guy you want to take home to your daughter.
not from this video. I think this is clearly what's known as propensity evidence, right? So that's what I think a lot of people are using it for. Propensity evidence is saying once a thief, always a thief. And courts, like generally, this video is probably not, if he was, let's say if he survived and was going to trial, this video wouldn't have been used at his trial. And the reason why is because you can't use the jury would have the tendency to convict him based on what he did before. So the reason why they would say this is irrelevant, because you can only convict him on the facts in front of you. And those officers, unless you can prove that, or these officers can show that they had this knowledge about these events and his aggression toward officers in the past, then you can make the argument that that they were justified in their use of force or being more agitated because they knew of his history. But unless you can
Sure.
show me something that directly points to that, or some way that this is relevant to that case, I think at this point it's 100% irrelevant what he did 11 days ago.
I did have one question, and I could be, completely off. I just wanted to know if this were a civil case and it was determined the fault one way or the other, could this be used at that point to factor the penalty level?
Yeah, I think when in terms of civil liability,
Yeah.
the rules are a little different. So you
Okay.
can say, okay, this person has a history of doing this, blah blah blah, blah, because now you're trying to find out the
How much you pay.
civil, yeah, how much you're paying, and then is it, instead of it being beyond a reasonable doubt, you're talking about really 50-50 plus one. Who's more correct here, and then you allow the jury to make those inferences. Is it more likely that a guy who's has a history of doing this did it this time? Where in criminal court, that's a no-no. You can only say, well, what about this time, what he did in this particular instance?
Well, I just wanted to ask that because I did think that maybe that could be, a factor when settling, how much a judgment was actually going to be in terms of that. It's like, well, he's not an innocent lamb, so maybe the judgment isn't quite as high. Maybe it's trimmed down slightly, even if the government is proven wrong or whatever. I just want to ask that.
I do want to make it very clear too, because trials are done in two separate parts: criminal and civil trials. You have the liability, the criminal liability, the civil liability phase, right? That's where the jury looks at the evidence, and the rules in that particular phase are very strict, right? No hearsay, no propensity evidence, that type of thing. There was a grape case that's famous for this, where the person was a serial grapist, but they couldn't use the fact that he had like 5 or 6 previous grapes because, unfortunately, they weren't unique. They were just kind of like random stuff, right? There was nothing that you could say like, hey, if you had, let's say, a signature, let's say if he always cut like a T into someone's arms or something like that, you can use that and say, hey, that's how we know this is him. But they were so unique that you couldn't do that. But so what they did is they convicted him on the one grape, but then in the penalty phase, you could use all that propensity evidence, and you can say, hey, we have evidence that he did this 4 or 5 different times in the past. And what the judge would do is take all that propensity evidence and say, hey, we're going to give this guy life in prison, 20 years or whatever, because he's a danger to society. So propensity evidence can work, and these type of things can work in the penalty phase. But for liability, criminal liability, civil liability, generally they're not used.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to ask that. And I thought there could be a little bit more if we got down in the weeds, but we both agree on criminal, irrelevant.
Yes. I think this is irrelevant, but I think a lot of people are going to use this to push the point that he wasn't this choir boy that you wanted to date your sister. And Ana Navarro should have, I think she's trying to win the moral high ground. And now she's kind of destroyed her own moral high ground now because, like so this is a person.
She looks foolish because she didn't see that. I'm going to give her credit. She didn't know about this video when she made her statements. So,
but that's why you don't make
and she was reading the headlines. They're being put out all over the place. So, look, she's a foil. I'm not a fan of hers, but to be fair to her, she didn't have all the information. I don't know if she repeats it today, go get her, publicly shame her, even more, but she just looks dumb.
Yeah. I think charges, nothing still justified. Yeah, I just don't think in this situation it's justified. I'm saying I think in this situation, the first situation, they're totally justified, and all the force they're using. I don't think there's any problem with ICE agents except for obviously their shit search. Their search was ridiculous. The second one, there's a whole bunch of issues with that one. Matter of fact,
somebody in the chat is arguing that tactical gear prevented them from seeing it or something. And then it's like, well, you need to check your gear. I mean, and you can
3
still
officers
feel
arresting the body, and the first place you're supposed to search in a hot situation is the waistband. That's where waistband and pockets. That's where people keep their weapons. Waistband and pockets, easy access, right? That's where they keep their weapons. So I understand people are trying to, give the cops an excuse, but I just don't think there is one. He literally had a gun in his waistband, and the first thing they say, check the waistband. Either they saw it or they didn't care about it. I don't know how you get out of that quandary.
I wanted to put this up because like we did on Sunday, If any of you can find the video discussing him actually being fired or abusing veteran or any of these claims, please send it to us on X on a DM or whatever. We will look and we will pull it up. We're not trying to hide the ball in anything. If we get information, we will absolutely put it up. We're trying to learn here.
Yeah. If you have information, we love to see it. We love to see it. I don't want people to think that we don't want to see the information. Here's a new video. So there are two. Before we leave the Pretti stuff, there are two things. There are two rules of thought, and it's about the first shot. If the cop shot the first shot, this is essentially going to be unjustified. A lot of people are saying it's going to be unjustified. But if the officer, if Pretti's gun fired from a misfire, people believe it's going to be justified. This is a justified shoot based on the circumstances. So what I want to do is I want to show you this video file. This video file I'm going to put up here. Hold on a second. This video file is coming from, sorry, now they get to see how the sausage is made, because this is not working. All right, now it is.
This is how the pros do it, folks.
All right, here we go. So this is a new breakdown, and this is where they're going to say exactly, because DHS came out and said who actually made the shots. So now you get to see who actually shot and their perception in the whole thing. So let's watch this video because it gives you more information.
Now we'll slow things down so each moment is clear. Here is Pretti.
Okay.
Several agents are restraining him, and this is the Border Patrol agent who will shoot him first.
Okay. Different guy.
This appears to be when agents first notice that Pretti is carrying a firearm and yell.
Now, one thing I do want to do is back up a little bit.
Yeah,
You
the
see,
shover
this
is
guy,
on the right.
But this guy right here is seeing if he has anything on his legs, in your leg holsters
Yes.
or anything. So that's what they're doing.
Yell that he has a gun.
So now he's got a gun. Everybody
Okay.
knows that everybody's on. And this officer is hitting him with the canister, right? With the canister in the head.
Watching the same moment from a different angle, the agent who first pepper sprayed Pretti beats him several times with the spray canister.
So the officer that initiated all this is now beating him with the spray canister.
Yep. He likes that man.
We can see that both of Pretti's arms are pinned down by his head.
So now we see where his arms are at. So a lot of people are saying he was reaching for weapons while he was in this position, but they're saying you can see his arms here.
This agent in gray reaches to remove Pretti's weapon from his hip. As this agent unholsters his gun, nudges the agent in gray out of the way, and fires. Let's rewind and focus on the agent who shoots first. Just seconds before he fired, he was facing away from Pretti and focusing on an entirely different situation as he tries to spray a nearby woman with an irritant. The spray appears to malfunction, and the agent turns as he adjusts it. That's when someone yells that Pretti has a gun. And around 5 seconds after fully turning his attention toward Pretti, the agent draws his weapon and shoots. His arm visibly recoils at the first shot. The firearm has clearly been removed from the scrum when the first shots are fired toward Pretti at close range. The officer who disarmed Pretti can be seen reacting to the sound of the first shot, looking back toward the skirmish. The shooter was standing behind Pretti and not under direct threat, contradicting statements from Homeland Security officials that he fired defensive shots. He also has a vantage point to see the gun pulled from the scene. But
now I do want to say this. This is very dangerous, especially shooting like this, because this is a lot of crossfire possibilities here, right? Yeah, it's very, very dangerous.
It's unclear if he did, and whether he thought a weapon was still on Pretti. He then fires 3 more shots from behind Pretti,
Now, can we?
whose
cover that
arms
for a
are
second?
down.
Pause. Not necessarily, I'm not excusing it or anything, but the question where they, saying he's at a good angle to see the pistol removed, that's assuming that he's actually looking at the time. The truth is, if he missed it being removed and he hears he's got a gun and he looks down and sees an empty holster, his perception could be that the guy has a gun in hand. Oh shit. And that could have, in his mind caused him to pull his gun.
But all right, so let's say this. You see the empty holster. The guy says gun, gun, gun.
No, they said he has a gun. He has a gun. It was like a lot clearer in that video. Sound like they literally said he has a gun. He has a gun.
Yeah. So he has the gun. He has a gun. You see the holster. I don't know if that allows you to just then shoot from that angle, from the back, unless you can.
I don't know either. I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, I do agree with exactly what you're saying. I just think, I don't know that's enough to say then you can just unload the gun because you see an empty holster, unless you can see, I think you need more, but I think it's more gray than anything else, right?
Yes.
He appears to brace himself against the pavement. In one hand, he still holds his phone, and in his other, his glasses.
Okay, there we go. That is part of the problem too, is if he has a phone in a hand and glasses in the hand and an empty holster, where we got a lot of movement, I don't know. Could he say, could he perceive one of those objects in the hands as being potentially the gun, and it's moving? I'm not. It's harder in this particular fracas. I think for that cop that initially did the fire. I'm just throwing out observations.
If Pretti was arrested for assault and damage to federal property, he'd be out of jail and still would.
That's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. Oh, this person says I'm wrong, but I don't. You gotta give me a little bit more than that. So the point here is that, number one, I don't think the officer, if it's even true that officer made the first shot, because I'm going to play the video too, where the other person makes the other argument that it wasn't the officer made the first shot. It was the SIG. But even if this officer, I don't think you can really say that officer saw like him removing the gun. He may have seen it, but I don't think it's definitive enough, especially in this particular situation. I do think though, but I do think both are possible. He could have saw the gun being removed, but I think that's less likely, because then why would you shoot him? You can think he had a second gun, but that's, I think, a little bit more tenuous. I do think your explanation may be even good. Someone said gun, gun, gun. Looks down, sees an empty holster, and he's looking up and he sees a black something in his hand. It's moving very, very fast. But then you have crossfire. You have some issues here too. But I think you could make that argument.
Yeah, and it's not perfect. I just, I can imagine that kind of thing going down.
Agent in gray who removed Pretti's gun carries it across the street. Pretti is disarmed and falling to the ground. But the agent who first pepper sprayed Pretti and later beat him with a canister also pulls out his gun. From a distance, despite the fact that Pretti is lying motionless on the ground, these two agents fire 6 more shots. Neither is under threat.
What the fuck did you just do?
In total, the agents fire 10 shots in 5 seconds. Now we'll
10 shots.
That doesn't look as good, because if he's down and still, but it looked like he was getting up in another video.
So there's a pause. And the pause is where
Will pulls out his gun.
So he's already been shot, I think, 3 times here. Right. So
Who removed Pretti's gun carries it across the street. Pretti is disarmed and falling to the ground.
So now I think it would be fair to look at the original video in real time, because by slowing it down, it makes it seem like there's so much room.
More time. Sure.
Yeah. When this happened in seconds, this didn't happen in hours. So let me pull up the other video so we can see it in real time. Hold on, I'm just trying to find the real time video. Now this one I'm pulling up here. This one doesn't have real time. Sorry, I'm sure. If you can read the super chats while I find this video.
Are there any more super chats? I thought we were.
Yeah, there's There's two.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I will. Let me see. If Pretti was arrested for assault and damage to federal, yeah, he would have been out of jail. Still would have happened. We did cover that one already. And for me, there's not enough movement for a recoil to make me believe this officer shot. I honestly think the guy in gray had a ND causing sympathetic fire, something discharge, or bad discharge. I forget what ND stands for.
Where's it at? Oh, ND cause sympathetic. I think known maybe it's the discharge. I'm not sure. ND. Yeah, I'm gonna go here because this is playing it. All right, so this is real time, right? So we're gonna hear because I want to play it in real time so we can hear the shots because that's where most one shot and see if there's a pause in the action. So the first shot, pause, and then you have bang, bang, bang. So here we go again. All right, so there's a lot of pauses in this.
Right, there's the first one, yeah, but after the first shot, he was starting to get up, and I think that, and then boom, 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 when he was starting to get up, and then he fell forward. So if you wanted to go back,
so let's go. First shot. Now this is where, like we were saying, he's starting to get up,
right?
Because he was starting to get up. First shot. See, he's standing up. He's trying to stand up here.
Right. Boom.
Now those shots now, and he's down. So he's down on the floor now.
Right. So
now they're firing.
There's like three sequences, I guess. A single shot, 3 shots, but those are pretty close together. Those are like two people's perspective, I'd say. The first shot and the others. And he is continuing to get up, it appeared at that point. But then it seems like he was going down and they backed up and then fired.
Yeah. But it seems like when he was shot, he was already down. So like in this case, can you separate those shots? I don't think this is like Renee Good. Renee Good was bang, 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 rapid fire.
That was like one sequence. Yeah.
This you have kind of 2 pauses. So you have the first shot, pause, and then you have the barrage shot. So I think those would be good. But it's that second pause. Then he's down, and then you have another pause, and then they continue to fire. So I think that last dump may be a little questionable.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's the officer, and another thing that's maybe troubling is that the fact that it's the officer who agitated all this is the one that shot that had that second barrage.
The later one,
yeah. See, so after this now, that's the one that I think may be a little more problematic with the officer. And there's body cam for this.
As a matter of fact, back up just a little bit, because how far away when they're shooting here? Okay.
And so he's here.
Yes. Now, play. Are we hearing shots right now?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because that's a lot of distance between them and him.
Well, let's also think about it too. So at this point when he shot, so he's down, like he goes down. So he's face down now, right?
Mm-hmm. I wish again the camera. I wish it was staying on him,
it wasn't standing. But so he goes. So he's down, right? He's down,
right?
And now this is when you have the pause because now he's down like this. The pause, and then they have the shot. So here it is. Pause.
It's like they're firing and walking backward. It appears.
Yeah. That's going to be a little tough to overcome. I think that's going to be tough to overcome. I think that the second barrage of shots. I think that second barrage of shots may be a little thing, and it's seconds. But again, you're responding to an active threat.
Well, hold on. When you say 5 seconds, everybody who's saying 5 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. How long is that?
That's 5 seconds.
That's a little longer than you think. The Renee Good was within 1/2 a second.
Somebody's saying, let's read my super chat. The agent who takes the gun looks to his left shoulder when the first shot is fired. He's holding the gun in his right hand. He wouldn't look over the other shoulder if he had a negative discharge. Yes. So in other words, he's saying he's holding the gun in one hand, and then when a shot goes off, he looks the other way. So that makes sense. Because the gun get off this way, you look this way because you would actually feel the gun going
Good
off
point.
too. So that's a very good point. Well, matter of fact, should I look for that video of the guy who does the analysis of the thing? I think somebody sent it to me on X.
Well, I don't know. I mean, are we going to go over the
matter of
first one
fact,
because we have a time limit and we need to.
I think let's move on to the Candace Owens stuff. I think we need to move on to the Candace Owens stuff. But I do think at this point in time, this is not as clean as it generally always would be. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more dirty than I would like it to be. So,
all right, and to wrap this up, essentially, our coverage today is of the second video and whether the newly discovered footage is relevant to the incident where he was killed, and we're saying that it's really actually irrelevant to the second incident. Is that fair, Nate?
Yes. And I would also say too, I think the video in terms of politics kind of cuts both ways. And I think it's fascinating because both sides, I think, arguments are true. Right?
Mhm.
I think one side's argument essentially is this shows a propensity for violence against federal officers. And so that's what I think the conservatives are saying. But I think on the other side, the liberals are saying this shows that officers can be restrained in this type of high stakes environment, and that it wasn't reasonable for them to use force because it was more reasonable for them to use force in this other situation than it was by the time they actually killed him. So I think both sides have compelling arguments that politically, I think it's going to work for their side. But I think both sides are actually saying true statements, and if you kind of add them together, I think it's just a wash.
Fair enough. Now we're going to be shifting this over to laid back law, as I said earlier in the episode. If you're watching on Nate the Lawyer, you should automatically be redirected. You can continue watching over there. I hope you do. I hope you keep hanging out with us. If not, I do appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video. But we're going to be heading over and talking about the Candace Owens case right now. All right, we should be over here, and hopefully folks are coming over and joining us to watch the rest of this. For Candace Owens, she released some audio yesterday for her never-ending investigation of the Charlie Kirk assassination, now character investigation, I guess, of Erika Kirk. Do we want to say anything else to set up this video by Philip DeFranco? I thought it was a good video to show how the internet is reacting, or at least the internet that him and his producers researched and sought out in this video. Or do you want to just go straight to Philly?
Well, I think we should go to Philly, but I just want to make sure. Some people are saying that they said some of the photos that we were using was AI generated. Okay, thank you for that, because I know a lot of the stuff that they were doing was AI generated, and collective, what is the collective SenseMaker also sent me another place where it says that that this was not an accidental discharge, and it likely came from the officer. So thank you for that too. So I just want to acknowledge that we did get those. So we're just making sure. All right.
All right. Well, let's go to.
So first, actually, let's do this. Let's before we play Philip DeFranco, let's make sure we set this up. Candace Owens has a non-disparagement agreement with Turning Point USA. Now, last time we did this discussion, there was a lot of confusion about the difference between a defamation lawsuit and a non-disparagement agreement. Now,
Nate, we could, if we're going to go into that, I thought we were going to do it afterward, but that's fine.
No, I just want to kind of set people up, because I want people to know what to look for when they're looking in this video. Now,
well, let's let Candace tell us about the non-disparagement.
I just want to make sure people understand the difference between the non-disparagement agreement and commercial non-disparagement agreement under law.
Or
So
contractual.
there is
it commercial or contractual?
you have commercial and then you have contractual.
Okay.
Commercial anti-disparagement laws made by the state are essentially defamation laws against commercial entities. So it's defamation against companies. But then, and it has to be false. You have to follow all those defamation rules. But a contractual non-disparagement agreement is different. That's where somebody makes you an offer. I'm paying you to shut up. That means I'm paying you to give up your constitutional right to free speech. I'm paying you not to say anything bad about me, true, false, or indifferent. And I'm paying you, right? I'm paying you for the right to do this. And Candace Owens has been doing this for years. She's been in this agreement. So it's not like she just found out. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, what she's saying is true. That doesn't matter. In a non-disparagement contractual agreement, true things, even if they are true, they can be liable because it's based on the contract. If the contract says you can't say anything bad, you say something bad, true or not, you owe me money. So we have to understand that principle. Now, Eric is going to play Candace understanding this. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, this is Candace describing just what Nate was saying about a non-disparagement agreement.
Anyway, let's read the letter. And to give you some needed context before we jump in here, because you're going to go, what are they talking about with payments? Turning Point and I obviously had a long speaking arrangement, a speaking contract, which was still in effect when Charlie was assassinated. We've had a contract to speak going back to 2019, 2020. So obviously, given Charlie's assassination and the direction that my investigation took into what happened on that day, we moved to terminate that agreement, which was supposed to go on for another couple of years. So naturally, to give them credit, because this is a bit different from Wolves in Finance, them going after a YouTuber who has no relationship with them. Naturally, in any contract relation, there is standard NDA agreements that you come to. It's just kind of written in there. You're not going to disparage me. You're not going to defame me. And so they are, broadly speaking, making the allegation here that my investigation into who killed Charlie Kirk is naturally disparaging. And hey, you accepted our money. You took our money for years while Charlie Kirk was alive. So we're executing on this. You're not allowed to disparage us for another 12 months since we canceled that agreement. So the letter reads, and I'm Xing out the beginning. Okay.
So she definitely seems to understand what non-disparagement is, why it's there, and everything else, right, Nate? I mean, that was her.
The limits of it, and the fact that she's under contract. She's under contract for essentially another 8 months, right? She's under contract for another 8 months.
No, more than that, because the contract didn't
December,
separate
right?
Until December.
So another 11 months. 11
Yeah.
months. So she's under contract for another 11 months. So she cannot say bad things about Turning Point USA. And if she does, she's violating the contract they have and is exposing herself to monetary damages, right?
100%.
And no matter if it's true or false, it doesn't matter. It's all the same.
All right. So that was what, last week? I mean, this stuff is running together.
Week.
Yeah, it was like last week that she did that and said that.
So now we're going to look at this video and the Philip DeVrenga show, and you have to then make the decision if what Candace is about to do, she's about to expose this tape. Does it make, even if it's true, does it make Turning Point USA look bad? Does it disparage them? That's what we're doing. And Eric, you are lagging a little bit. I thought it might be me, but you're lagging a little bit.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, maybe you can lower your frame rate. Oh, not your frame rate, your resolution, maybe.
Oh, you know what? Okay, let me do that. Hold on. Let's see. All
and
right.
You know what?
Am I lagging now, or is that caught up?
You're caught up, but let me play the video because I may have a little bit more bandwidth. You put the link in the text.
Well, I have it right here.
Oh, all right, cool. I know I didn't know if it was draining your resources. So go ahead,
I was on 60 frames. Somehow it got up to that. So
that's probably why.
Hopefully I'm back 30 and everything's good here.
Yeah, it's looking better. All right, Let's play it.
Candace Owens just leaked some audio, and it's got people online saying that Erika Kirk sounds thrilled to be profiting off of her husband's death. Because Candace shared a clip of what she claims is.
Let me play it here because it's choppy for me.
Oh,
I think you're. Yeah, hold on. I'll play it from my end.
There goes my gigabit FiOS. Jesus.
Can you send me the link? Oh,
Yeah,
you did send me the link. You did. You did. I got it.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah. So let me put this here, and I am going to share my screen. Share screen. Let's share this, and let's do it. All right, put this on screen. Boop, and fill this up, and let's do it. Here we go, guys.
Some audio, and it's got people online saying that Erika Kirk sounds thrilled to be profiting off of her husband's death. Because
now, Erika Kirk sounds thrilled to be profiting over her husband's death. That's disparaging. I think that's pretty disparaging. But we just started.
I hate to be fair to Candace Owens because I'm not a fan. But anyway, this is Philip DeFranco's informant.
Yeah, of course.
Not her statement.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. This sounds he's making it sound bad. But let's play it.
Yeah.
Candace shared a clip of what she claims is Erika speaking to TPUSA staff following Charlie's memorial just under 2 weeks after he died. And in this clip, it sounds like she's thanking them for their work during the event, discussing the future of TPUSA. And it's gotten more and more attention because Candace and a ton of others have listened to that and said, it sounds like Erika's a little happier than you might assume.
I don't.
So he is making the claim that they've claimed this, but let's listen to the audio ourselves.
And a ton of others have listened to that and said, it sounds like Erika's a little happier than you might assume.
I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that attended, and the stadium overflow. I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Again, it's not easy, but again, grief is hard. Otherwise, honestly, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, you guys. We have, Charlie would want us to get back to work, and that's what we're doing. We have so much to do, which is exciting. Charlie in heaven is like, you guys thought you had a busy schedule then, just you wait. And he's doing some awesome things with Jesus in heaven right now, but there's so much work to be done. I mean, since his assassination, we have 100,000 chapter requests. We have 300,000 new donors. I think we have 50,000 plus hat orders to fulfill.
And Candace's reactions to Erika's tone here was,
it is the general tone that is off-putting. It's the laughter that is off-putting. It's, again, we are not even 2 weeks after watching your husband be assassinated. In my imagination.
So hold on. We're 11 days out, right? They just had this event.
Okay.
The head of Turning Point USA, the head has been killed. So now you're thinking about survival of the company, right? Because now you have that to worry about. Then you have the legacy to worry about. Then you have, because it's like my mission job, right? The one person if something happened to me, kind of everything else kind of falls apart, and the people have to pick up the pieces and try to figure out how it's done, because Charlie was the one running all this stuff. So 100%. This seems to me, as a woman who's just lost her husband, who's worried about all the people she's employing and all the people who are relying on Turning Point USA to be successful, has now had an event that shows that Turning Point was successful. And she's celebrating that, right? She's celebrating like, hey, thank God my husband is blah, blah, blah. She's laughing. She's happy because to me, it sounds like she feels like his vision or their vision can go on. Am I understanding it being unreasonable?
No, I think it's perfectly reasonable, but I'm going to be just slightly different than you on that. Like,
of course, yeah.
I don't, when she goes, that actually sounded like relief.
Yeah.
Now, I'm, and that's not exactly celebratory, but just literally relief. And everybody, please consider and think about, like, when, you've got to face something, you put so much in it, you're terrified. How is this going to work out? Is everything going to be okay? And you describe, and you're like, and we pulled it off. and it's not necessarily a laugh. A lot of it's just an outpouring of emotion of thank God this has gone forward. And again, Nate described a lot of it. This is Charlie Kirk created this organization, but this organization isn't just a money making organization for him and the family. It's actually a mission. It is like a political organization. This, I don't think it would be terrible of me to make an analogy that if MLK's widow had done an event or his memorial and everybody turned out and everybody wanted to start marching on their own and everybody wanted to have chapters to celebrate, MLK back then, that the reaction could be very similar because he's still alive. His message is still alive. He's still with us. And that's almost like more of a wake than a funeral. That's kind of the way I interpret it. Maybe I'm projecting, but I don't think it's her not taking his death seriously. She also broke down at different points, and the pauses, again, it didn't flow like, oh my God, it's so great. Oh, look. Candace, I feel, is representing like, oh my God, look at this. We got so much money. We got all the merch. Oh God, this is exciting. And we're going to hug each other and celebrate and dance. It did not feel like that. It felt like a relief. Like,
yeah,
like, guys, we're doing it. We can do it. We can go on.
I would like to ask you this though. Would you consider this disparaging?
Yes. Especially, I mean, it's not the most disparaging thing she ever said, but in context with everything else, it feels like harassment because I feel like this has to be included with everything else. Like every time Candace Owens goes on, Erika Kirk has to go, God, what's going to be said about us now? Everybody at Turning Point's like, okay, what's going to be said today?
Like,
could you imagine being there now? God forbid, something happened with you and your wife had to deal with this, or something happened to me and my wife had to deal with this. I would just feel horrible.
It's funny because celebrating merchandise. It's about almost 2 weeks after your husband died. They probably were scared to death about how this event would go because don't forget, your big name is Charlie Kirk, right? And he's gone now. So you have to. I just don't see it. I think Candace is, unless her lawyers have told her, listen, it doesn't matter now. Just go all out. The max they can pay out is this. There's got to be something in this contract because I don't see how you get away with this if you have an NDA. Like, there's no way watching this, even if I didn't know about the NDA, if you didn't tell me this was not disparaging, and I would think, and then you told me she has a non-disparagement agreement, I'd be like, this is this is not looking good for poor Candace. But
it's not flattering, that's for damn sure.
Nation, I just thought she would be more upset.
What you've seen is a lot of people, both in and out of her audience, agreeing with Candace's take, slamming Erika for sounding so excited and happy about merch sales in the wake of her husband's murder, writing things like, I can't imagine sounding like this 11 days after my husband was just publicly
Go ahead and pause
executed.
for a
No
second.
way.
I guess we saw in the chat too about, celebrating merch sales and merch. People are dwelling on that, but did she start with saying, oh my God, we sold so much merch? Or did she say merch as part of a list? Like these are markers to say, was the event successful or not?
Correct,
if Charlie Kirk was doing an after action brief of one of his events, do you not think he would say, we got chapters, we got donations, we got merch, these are all the markers to determine whether this event was in fact successful for driving his message and his mission forward or not. And that is just one item on a list.
Yeah, I agree. But I think also based on the reactions of the public, like none of this stuff is helpful to Candace if she has this NDA. I don't see the fact that other people are also saying, yes, this is so messed up, blah, blah, blah. That shows the extent of the disparagement. Are these people being reasonable with what they believe she's saying? If it can be proven officers who shot recognized him from the list of agitators, would that impact on a decision? It would have an impact, but the amount would be, again, the amount of knowledge, and then you still have to look at the fact that
it could have a negative impact too, Nate, right? Because what if the guy who was shoving the females recognized him and it was like, oh, you son of a bitch, you're back. That could go against them, like a negative motive.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to call it 0 at this point, but I think it could be either way.
This was Nate. Candace signed an NDA when Charlie was in charge. Okay, but she signed with the company. She was even doing after he died. She even says she was still, and they ended it in December 2nd. So she was still in a contract when she was saying all that stuff.
And it wasn't a personal contract to Charlie Kirk. It was a contract with Turning Point USA, the organization. Yeah. So it doesn't matter who's in charge of Turning Point at that point. It's still the organization and her that has a contract, right, Nate?
Yeah, exactly. And he tweeted Candace about his fears of dying early. He also told her.
Did he tweet or DM or text her? Because I don't remember who's it
from TPO CPU. So let's say if he tweeted it publicly, that's a different thing. But if he sent her a DM saying this, right? It's true. You got a non-disparagement agreement with Turning Point USA. Can you put that out? Is it going to disparage Turning Point USA? And I would say it's possible, right? It's possible. And how are you using it? So I don't think it's even a close question that Candace Owens was disparaging Turning Point USA and disparaging the head of the company, disparaging their motives, disparaging all this stuff, suggesting that people there turned on them and telling people to not, to not support Turning Point USA. That's a whole bunch of disparagement. And now leaked audio with the caveat that, hey, this sounds strange. Mm-hmm. Maybe Candace is just like, hey, I'm going all in because I just don't see how you win a non-disparage.
As a lawyer, Nate,
I just don't see how you win it.
As a lawyer, who would you want to represent in this case, Candace or Turning Point?
I think Candace is screwed. I don't know how you can go to court with this case because truth is not a defense, right? If they can say it's true, so what? So what? This is not a defamation case. I paid you money to keep your mouth shut and to not say bad stuff about me. You took that money and said, yes, I will not say bad stuff about you and blah, blah, blah. And now you're saying bad stuff about me. Why? While we're steering that agreement. I think it's an open and shut case. It's just now when they file the paperwork and how long it's going to take to get paid. Because I think she'll be on the hook for legal fees. I think this looks willful, which is going to make punitive damages put on the table. This is just bad.
Somebody just said he texted her. I didn't think it was publicly tweeted because that would be a different scenario.
Matter of fact, even if she had this, why put it out on your chin? She could have gave that to somebody else to put out. But I think she wanted to make the money off of it. So
I would be thinking about merch sales. But then also, as I understand, you had plenty of people defending Kirk, saying, everyone grieves differently, and this didn't feel weird to them. And others saying that, if anything, it shows that Erika is stepping up as CEO of TPUSA, and the audio sounded like a normal business meeting. And with that, you also saw a lot of people taking aim at Candace, including one user who wrote, I find it disgusting that Candace Owens keeps going after Erika. Erika obviously wants Charlie's legacy to grow, and saying she is doing what he would have wanted her to. She will carry on. Many also accusing Candace of being hypocritical, saying she herself has been profiting off of Kirk's death by posting countless videos, milking his assassination, spreading conspiracy theories in the wake of his death, and going after his widow. For now, we'll have to continue to see how this plays out in the court of public opinion, as obviously, for months now, we've seen right-wingers kind of going after each other on different things, as well as to wait and see if TPUSA pushes back against Candace here, right? Because so far, they've kind of been pretty selective about what they respond to when it comes to her.
Well,
go ahead.
I would say this. That's smart because I think they're just building a lawsuit against Candace. I think they're just taking on. They sent her the letter. She's kind of saying F that, doing her own thing. And I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like, all right, well, eventually we're going to get you. And I think she's just waiting for that hammer to drop. What defense do you see here? Is there any way Candace
don't
defend this?
I don't. And I was just thinking now, let's go all the way in. Let's just say Erika Kirk is in fact celebrating. Let's say that she is a horrible human being and she truly was dancing and celebrating, and all of that is true. You're right. It still would be disparagement. Even if, and I don't think she was, but even if Erika Kirk wasn't appropriate, was absolutely draconian and thrilled about it and expressing that, what you're saying, it still would be disparagement. Right?
This person
because the truth is not a defense.
Let's be honest. Candace Owens doesn't care if she has to pay. She just wants everything out in the open. Well, you say that until you have to cut the check, right? Because the problem is that the more you talk, the more it's willful, the more disparagement. Those are just dollar signs keep adding up, keep adding up, keep adding up, keep adding up. And it can get to the point where it's like, hey, you got $1 billion. Like look at Alex Jones, right? You got $1 billion in damages.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These things add up pretty quickly. And I think Turning Point is just literally making marks. Okay, she said this. Matter of fact, they told her they were doing that essentially.
Right? If her videos weren't monetized and she wasn't taking sponsorships on every one, then I'm like, well, maybe, but there definitely is profit happening on her channel. I think any YouTuber who knows the back end and they understand sponsorships and they understand numbers would agree that a lot of money has shifted to Candace Owens' direction. And if she, in fact, let's say, was like every video was released on BitChute or Rumble or whatever, no sponsorships, no ads, just going out there, I'm not saying it would still be right or wrong, but it would appear more to support that statement that she just wants the truth out. It's not about making any money, because she is making a lot of money.
I think Candace is going to put her money on the table just to find out the truth. All right, well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, because don't forget, she's got the Macron stuff. And
which, by the way, there's a case in point with the Macron stuff. She stated publicly multiple times that she wanted to be sued by the Macrons. She wanted to have discovery. Please, 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 sue me, sue me, sue me. And somehow she's not communicating to her lawyers or something because she's trying to get the case dismissed. Why are you trying to get a case dismissed if, again, you want to have the discovery and you really want to have it out there? There is a contradiction here.
Yeah, because discovery, I think it cuts both ways too. Because then it's like, did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know this? How did they, were you talking to people about that? Any conversation that she had about Macron's, hey, I know she's really a woman, but, we're going to say this anyway because it's going to make us money. Like, you could have statements like that with friends and things of that nature. So, I'm not saying Candace has said something like that, but it puts all of her stuff, and the fact that Macron's had they had their lawyers go and they had to sit down and talk, and they presented all this evidence. It's just going to be very, very tough. And at the end of the day, if there's just like a blood test to definitively prove that she's a woman or they gave that evidence to Candace, then I think Candace is screwed. So these defamation suits can bankrupt people. So I don't know, but whatever she's doing, she knows what she's doing. She's probably, and I think maybe her fans are right, she doesn't care about the money. She's just putting it all out there and wants to be sued into oblivion. So if that's the case, then more power to her. But I don't think that's realistic. I think people are wanting Candace to be this type of hero, but I think this is incredibly naive, and it's putting you in an incredible civil liability to both the Macrons and now the Turning Point USA. And every time she says something else, it puts them in, and they still got her under the thing for another year. Is she going to say anything else? That's going. She's yes. This is problematic.
All right, and this chat's perfectly on point. I'm sorry the fact that Erika is almost gleeful about the events and how many people they signed up is gross, super gross. If that's true, I don't think it is, but if that's true, fine, but it's still disparaging. And I guess that's kind of where we're going here. Is like, however you cut it, seems to be disparagement. But you know what, Nate, I think we've put the case out there. We've made our statements.
Yep.
Let's look for the comments to come in, and let's put it out to all of you. What do you think? Please, let us know in the comments below. We may not be able to, we can't respond to all the comments, but we do read them, and tweet at us, share it out, share it with everybody. Let us know what you think. We are definitely interested. And well, Nate, we're going to be back tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
With some other lawyers. I think we got Ryan. We've got MLS, I think, who's coming tomorrow. You never know who else is going to be coming here on Laid Back Law. Please consider, I have the very subtle sign on the screen right now. But it really does help out a lot. It can help us, get sponsors, things like that, to help cover this. I mean, I'm going to make a classless pitch. I've got a partner who has a brain tumor and he's in recovery. So your subscribing helps us carry forward and continue with this program. So
yeah, well, first, just for everybody who's here, who's come here without the brain tumor, we really appreciate it, and we hope that you like this. And we're going to be doing this again every Thursday and Friday. We're going to come talk about these hot topics in the news and see, because again, this is how we test our opinions, to see if there are some other things out there. Like we keep saying, we look at the information you send us, and that's why we even showed these 2 videos today, because that's what you sent us. So with that being said, for Eric, I'm Nate.